Hello everyone, welcome to SportsBeat on WOUB. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host for today, Jack Zwiezinski, and joining me at the table is
Andrew Levites,
Kasey Hill,
Logan Adams.
Plenty of news to talk about collegiate and pro sports. Here are our topics for today. We begin with OU men's and women's basketball after both teams suffered losses this past week. Then we jump into the professional world with the NFL. We follow it up with our Read and React and the return of our Deal or No Deal segment. Next, we keep the professional sports train rolling with the Cavs and the NBA, and we'll pivot from that into college basketball before we end the episode with our Upset Watch and weekly awards. SportsBeat starts right now. We begin our show again talking about Ohio men's basketball. Kasey.
Yes, so I've got quite a lineup here. So I'll start with Akron recap. I want to quote Grant Kiefer, Bobcat Showcase. He started off a video recap, anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I was like, wow, what a way to start a recap, Grant. I'll say Ohio did not lead at any point during this entire game. And most notably, the first quarter ended 41-18.
Wow.
Jeff Bull sat in the press room and admitted that his team was outplayed and that he personally was outcoached. Akron senior Tavari Johnson dropped 24 points in 29 minutes. He played for 29 minutes and had 24 points. It was wild. And then Hadaway ended up with a technical foul. There's just a lot of emotions running this court right now. You can tell the guys are frustrated with themselves, with their performance. And they ended up losing that one 86-65, and they dropped to 5-4 in the MAC.
Now, do you guys think, was this just like a game against a tough opponent, or were they just outpaced and outplayed here?
I think it definitely was a game versus a tough opponent, and this Bobcat team this year, in contrast to the team we had last year, where it was kind of like we could win versus the great MAC teams, and then we were dropping some really bad losses to bad MAC teams. But this year, we're just getting outclassed by the top teams in the MAC, and I think you saw that versus this game in Akron. And like Kasey said, the emotions really need to be in check for this team to start stacking up wins down the stretch. Obviously, Aiden Hadaway, one of the best players on the team, but, it's starting to be an every game thing where,
The technicals.
are starting to become a problem. And if you want to be a winning basketball team, you have to stay composed, and I would love to see that going forward.
Yeah, your performance is physically same as it is emotionally important.
Definitely.
Now, How do you guys think this team could go about starting to make those improvements?
I think it starts with shooting. I mean, you're looking at Dewar Connors on the bench. You're looking at A.J. Sheldon, the starting lineup. Those are two guys you want to come in and start knocking down shots. They just haven't done that this season. It's paramount that they start knocking down these threes because guess what these top MAC schools do? Miami, Ohio, Akron, Kent State, they hit threes.
Yep.
You got to be able to keep up with them in that department.
Yeah, I don't know if right now it's just like the rushing to get points up or maybe just shots not falling, poor shot selection. But I have that here in my notes. I mean, the three-point shooting, especially those top MAC teams, they will make it rain on your head.
Definitely.
You have to be able to compete or else you will, for every two you put up, they'll put up three. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose the game that way unless you just keep stacking. They got to be able to shoot from three.
Definitely. Also, if we want to compete with those really good three-point shooting teams, we have to have good defense. And so, we don't shoot the three ball well, and we don't really defend well either. So,
one of the big issues in the past few years with these Jeff Bulls teams is that he just doesn't recruit bigs.
Yes.
Jalen Breath was supposed to come in and be this backup center, this true center that we haven't had since Gabe Witsnesser, which was a disaster in its own right.
Indeed.
But he's come in, he's dealt with foul trouble, he hasn't been a presence around the rim on either end, and he's struggled to rebound. Same goes with Javen Simmons on that last point, who really just hasn't been a pound-for-pound great rebounder for this team.
And now that was the second time in the last 3 games that Ohio never led for a single second. So, what do you guys think the odds are that Bulls might be just losing the locker room, or is it just like the team's not clicking?
Yeah.
I think it is that 100%. I don't want to jump to any conclusions on just these few bad games that we're talking about, but there is 100% a disconnect. And if you don't see, Jeff Bulls is sitting in the press room saying he wants communication on the court. If his guys don't have chemistry in the dining hall, then he's not going to see communication on the court, and I find that immensely important.
Yeah, I think that's really important what Kasey said, the team chemistry. I don't think there's a disconnect with Bowles and the team. I think Bowles is very well liked within the team, but just going back to what Logan said, the personnel issues on this squad are a huge problem. Obviously, Jalen Breath, it kind of seems like there's some confidence issues there. You have Aiden Evans, Kier Kwani, not really what you want. You know, Javen Simmons is kind of like your only physical post player on this team, and that's really proving to be a huge issue in these losses.
And we've talked about it before, the emotional issues on this team. Aiden Hadaway has been a guy who's been under Bowles for 4 years now, and it's still an issue, and it's probably getting worse. The fact that hasn't been reined in speaks to Jeff Bowles and his ability to earn this locker room's trust.
Yeah.
And then, Kasey, yesterday, as of the time of recording, the Bobcats played the Golden Flashes. What happened in that game?
Yeah, so I wasn't there. I can't speak to the vibes as much as I can with the Akron game, but they once again got outplayed. 3 different guys, Kent State guys, have doubles, and the emotions came out again. 25 team fouls, and that's the highest amount the Bobcats have recorded since January 2024. It was. Kent's head coach, Rob Senderoff, I think you'd pronounce that, thought his guys played great defense, which is absolutely true because Pavletsky was locked down with only 6 shots. Funny thing to mention, we were just talking about shooting. Both of these squads were terrible from the field. I did some math, 29% and 31%, like across the board for field goals. I was like, wow.
That is actually the Jake and I were kind of looking earlier. That is the 3rd worst shooting performance in the Bulls era, and the last time they shot under 30%, funnily enough, was against Kent State in February of 2022.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been about 4 years, but it's still the worst shooting performance we've seen from them in 4 years.
And they're going to another conference loss for Ohio there because if neither of them can shoot, at least one of them could play defense, and it wasn't Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have to just mention as well the fact that the Bobcats had 25 fouls. I mean, that mixed with 29% from the field, like, are we serious?
Yeah, just you need your leaders like Hadaway
points
to lock in.
Yeah,
set an example for the team. Let's not start ripping fouls.
Yeah. And this is a team that Bowles was high on coming into the year, and this schedule doesn't get easier. You have Buffalo on the road coming up. You have 2 games against Miami, a game against Akron still. This team is in position to miss the MAC championship game.
Yeah.
Or just MAC tournament overall.
Yeah.
Not the MAC championship game.
Yeah.
And, for a coach as tenured as Jeff Bowles, I mean, do you think this is maybe a possibility of, do you think going from here, if this continues, his seat might start to warm up a little bit?
I honestly do think so. As the MAC conference starts to get stronger and, Bowles being one of the better coaches in the conference, you kind of expect more out of this team. And I do think it will be a hot seat situation, but I do know he's a great coach, and I think the recruiting has to be better, honestly.
I think so as well. I mean, you got, like you said, the MAC is only getting better. This is the best the league has been in a while.
Absolutely.
And you've got Akron, who's looking like a dynastic level team. Miami is off to a historic start in the MAC. Kent State, Toledo are always going to be there. And Ohio's been kind of that team of kind of blue blood MAC schools falling behind. So you kind of have to think, what is the direction for this program moving forward? Are you going to continue to capitalize on recruiting Central Ohio talent under Bowles, or are you going to try and get a different look in the locker room?
Right. More transfer portal type approach and not, recruiting those Ohio athletes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And now, coming up, what do we got, Kasey?
Yeah, so it's going to be Buffalo. Kind of worried about this game. Buffalo's a solid squad, but they're on a 5-game losing streak, 3 of which were by 6 points or less. So Buffalo is hosting this time, and this can be a bit tricky for Ohio to leave New York with a win. Jake put that note in for me there. Buffalo just won their most recent MAC game.
Yeah, they 89-78 against Bowling Green.
Got it.
Which was actually yesterday. So I mean, they've been heating up in the MAC at least.
Yeah, so definitely heating up, like you said. Ohio's 5th place, Buffalo's 6th place in the MAC there. So it's it's like a bubble game for them. They're on the cusp a lot more than people want to admit, and they're gonna need wins like this to do what it takes.
Yeah, and I mean they're sitting directly under Ohio in the standings at 4-5. Ohio's 5-5. So a win here could potentially shake up the conference a little bit. I mean, this is a huge game for them.
Definitely.
Good thing for Ohio is that this is a team they've beat before and handedly here in the convo. But we've seen this team struggle on the road. It's more difficult for them in these loud environments, in these environments that fans aren't exactly in their corner. They kind of thrive on getting energy behind them on those ticky-tack fouls, but when it's energy against them, we've seen a lot of pushback and a lot of struggles.
Yeah, then we're going to go to Western Michigan. After that, they're coming to us on February 3rd. They do have a losing record, 8-13, and then 2-7 in the MAC. So hopefully, if, like we said with the chemistry, they can hit some team bonding before then, maybe play more cohesively, play more confidently, they can come into a game with a little easier record.
And with that, we'll shift over to the women's basketball team, who had an interesting week.
Yeah.
Going back to you, Kasey, what happened with the Bobcats this week?
Yeah, so last Wednesday it's going to be BGSU. Before I list off these stats, I got to say these girls absolutely balled out against BG. Let me rant. 58% from the field, 59% from deep, 78% on the line. That's 59. That 59% is also the team's best three-point performance of the season. Bella Ranallo was the top scorer. She hit her career high with 26 this game. And then, of course, Bailey Tabeling went off as well. She dropped 20 points. She missed one shot from the field and one from the arc and went perfect from the line. So she literally missed 2 shots the entire game. And in the third quarter, Ohio was winning 60-30. They're literally doubling it. Just insane stats from the team overall. And they went on to beat BGSU 82-57 on the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge win for them, a great performance, too. I mean, yeah, with, like you mentioned, Bella Ranallo, 26 points, Bailey Tabeling, 28 and 5. I mean, they really led the scoring charge, but even some of the players who didn't quite score as much made an impact, like Monica Williams, Riri Jennings. They each had 2 steals apiece. That's huge for momentum, huge for the team there. You know, I mean, that's what I like to see. Everybody's playing their part. Everybody's making an impact. I mean, what about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I covered this team 2 years ago when they were coming off a 6-23 season. Yaya Felder, probably the best player in recent memory, had just left. And it was Bailey Tabeling, Monica Williams, just these kind of fledgling freshman players coming in and trying to build an identity. It was threes, it was a lot of steals, but it was also a lot of turnovers and struggling to finish around the rim.
Yeah.
But just seeing them blossom into this team that is kind of dominating MAC games has just been awesome to see.
All right, and then after that, they played Toledo. So what's the story of that game?
Let me switch it up. So we all know at the table that Toledo is just the Achilles heel of Ohio basketball. 5-game losing streak for the women's basketball team against Toledo. It's always Toledo. And it didn't end this time. So Toledo came to the Convo to make it 6-game losing streak in a row, beating Ohio 75-66. Ohio starts the game off with 0 for 9 from the field around the first quarter. And then they don't hit a shot besides the charity stripe until 34 seconds into the second quarter. Very uncharacteristic performance, really slow start. Totally plagued them for the game. And it's so difficult to get your team riled up and back from a start like that. But Bailey Tabeling did her absolute best. She hits this 3 and then gets a huge and 1. She's trying to create something for the team. I think they got closest to like 6 points, behind by 6 points, I think was the closest they got. But Ohio ends up losing just a few points around halftime, and then Bailey Tabeling just can't run this core alone.
So we've said the name a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, how has Bailey Tabeling impacted this team, especially over the last 2-3 games?
She's huge. I mean, I listed off her records the last time we were talking about her. She's just so important, and I'm so glad you talked about her. I'm a freshman. I wasn't here before, but I'm so glad you talked about her improvement.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, she's made a huge leap, especially this year. And I mean, you also have to, with this fall to Toledo, Bailey Tabeling had said after that we haven't seen that kind of defense this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of difficult to try and adapt in the middle of the game.
Well, wait until they get to Miami.
I mean, yeah, I think it's funny that they went from 59% from three against Bowling Green right into Toledo, where they shot 29.6 from the arc.
Absurd.
I mean, that they got out just kind of dismantled in the paint.
Yeah.
Toledo had 44 paint points compared to Ohio's 28. And I mean, 20 second chance points. I mean, it's just hard to get around those things happening, being outscored low, having to drop back and open up from behind the arc, especially when the defense is doing a great job of limiting the team from behind the arc.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time of this recording, Ohio's playing UMass, so we can't recap the game, but we'll go into the preview for their next couple. The women's team has a huge game on the road this week, Kasey.
Huge game, and that is going to be Miami, like we talked about. Ohio is tied for third in the MAC right now, and they're headed to Oxford to face off against number one team in the MAC, Miami Redhawks. This is a huge rivalry game we're all stoked for. Miami really has it all this season. Amber Treader is leading their show, averaging 14.1 points and almost 8 rebounds a game. You might think, well, they're number one team in the MAC. That's not crazy for averaging points. But you look under her, the next girl is 13.3, and then under her is 12.2, and then under her is 10.1. So it's like the bench, but then everything at the starting five, they're all just consistent. Well-rounded is just the word I want to use, from the roster to defensively too. The defense is top-notch. They hold their opponents to one of the lowest scoring averages in the conference. Last season, they beat Ohio 72-34. Granted, that was a really different Bobcat team, but it's still worth noting. A win for the Bobcats against the undefeated Redhawks would truly be insane. Miami really just is the team to beat right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're 9-0 in the conference, 17-4 overall, and then, I mean, 8-0 at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to go into
Yes.
Miami, go into Oxford, try and beat them. It's going to be a tough game against a very, very good team. But this is the game to solidify themselves. And then after that, what team?
It's going to be Western Michigan after that. So the upcoming schedule, Miami's definitely the one we circle, star, and underline. But the Bobcats will also run into Western Michigan next week. They are 2-6 in the MAC as of now. So I say focus on Miami at the moment.
I would agree with that. Focus on Miami, but then, I mean, you got to come in and just play incredibly well against Western Michigan. You have to keep up what they've been working on, keep it moving. They can't do, and we kind of had talked about this, especially with the football team, where it almost seems like when going up against like opponents that are lower in the MAC,
stooping to their level.
Yeah, they would
Yep.
take their foot off the gas, and I don't want to see the same pattern with the basketball team. They need to just keep it floored.
Yep.
You know, like a freight train, if it has to be, just run through them, move on to the next game.
No mercy.
So, with that, we'll transition over to the NFL as our Super Bowl matchup has been set in stone.
Oh, boy.
4 teams duked it
Let's
out for the
go.
chance to make it. Andrew, what happened this weekend?
So, yeah, we had a crazy championship weekend. 2 one-score games, but in very different ways. Let's start with this Broncos-Pats game. So, this was just an absolute slugfest of a game. Not a pretty game by any means. And I think the biggest story of this game was the elements, the sloppiness of this game, but also, obviously, the elephant in the room, Jarrett Stidham, facing off in his first game since 2023, and that game being the AFC Championship game. If I'm a Broncos fan, this game stings because, I mean, you kept it really close. And if you go into any game with your backup quarterback, you're thinking, there's probably a high chance we're going to lose this game. But,
I saw a stat, actually, that out of the 32 teams in the NFL, the Broncos were the only team to their backup quarterback did not throw a pass all season.
that is crazy.
And this is how they end up.
Yeah, and there was a lot of hype the week before leading up about Jarrett Stidham. This is a guy who learned the Josh McDaniels offense in New England. He's one of the highest paid backups in the league, and he showed it. In the first quarter of this game, he was spreading the ball out, and he looked in control of the offense. The Broncos took their first and only lead of this game in a first quarter drive as Jarrett Stidham threw a nice touchdown pass to Courtland Sutton, and things were looking good for the Broncos, But I think once the elements really started to affect this game and that Patriots defensive game plan really started to shut down Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos, things got really ugly. And things were ugly on the Patriots side as well. Drake May only threw for 10 completions for 86 yards, and they still won this game.
I mean, you got to also mention, we had kind of talked about that touchdown from Stidham to Courtland Sutton, but I mean, you got to at least comment on, I think it was 59 yards, the laser he had to Marvin Mims to set it up. I mean, I was very impressed there. I was not expecting much out of Jarrett Stidham at all. Right. And I mean, I agree. I think once eventually the Patriots' kind of defensive plan could really kick in, they could limit them. Then it started slipping out away from them, but they were in it for a while there.
They definitely were, and I think it's just so impressive how the Patriots were able to come out with this game with how sloppy it was. Like I was saying, Drake May only had 86 yards passing. He had the two big off-script runs, one of them being that touchdown. After the controversial Stidham turnover, that weird backwards chest pass, who knows what really happened there. But, I mean, if you look back in this game, if that play didn't happen, I mean, the Broncos, they really could have won this game because that set up the only touchdown for New England. And another huge storyline I wanted to talk about were the missed field goals. Obviously, we all saw the weather in Denver's swirling snow. We're simple creatures. It's okay. You miss kicks in that weather. But Will Lutz went 0 for 2, and then Andy Baragelis went 1 for 3. So, you take one of those Lutz field goals, I mean, this is a much different game.
Did they kind of look like they were on track and it was just the wind, or they just crap? Shanked?
The kicks weren't ever really close.
Okay,
They were. It was
one
bad.
of them was deflected, though.
Okay. Yes.
And that actually that sets up perfectly. I wanted to ask the table. In the second, the Broncos chose to go for it on fourth and didn't make it instead of just dropping back, taking the field goal for points.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the aggressiveness we were seeing from Sean Payton almost was a bad move?
I think so. Yeah. I think this defense has been one of the best units I've seen in my life. And as a Bengals fan, I've watched the Steelers and the Ravens have some just historic units. This Broncos defense is one you have to trust. And especially at that point in the game, you got to trust it. You can't go with your backup quarterback trying to make a move there.
Definitely.
And I know we had talked about, too, with the weather, but I do feel it is important to note this was before anything started. So it was clear skies, it was sunny out, and Sean Payton chose to go for it on fourth.
What was the distance? Fourth and...
Oh, God.
Was it short, or was this wild?
It was fourth and short.
It was in the red zone.
Tush push short?
Not that short, but it was within 25 yards. I can't remember the exact number.
Okay. And did they miss that kick then?
They didn't take the kick. They went for it. They went
turnover
for it.
I see. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
They ended up having a turnover on downs instead of just kicking the field goal, taking the points to kind of even up everything and take a little bit of a lead. I think it was I think he was just being too aggressive there. Yeah. You can, like you had mentioned, you can rely on your defense. That defense is incredible. They will be able to at least kind of make up for it. You can just take the 3 instead of risking trying to go for 6 and then not hitting it. And now, our NFC Championship game.
Yes. This game did not disappoint. We talked about it last week. This is kind of our de facto Super Bowl, and I completely agree with that statement. You got the number 1 defense taking on the number 1 offense. If you would have told me 3 years ago that Sam Darnold would win 14 games with the Minnesota Vikings, get blown out in the wild card, get dumped by the Vikings, and then put up 346 yards and 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship for the Seahawks.
Insane.
To punch a ticket to the Super Bowl, I would have told you are insane.
For J.J. McCarthy, no less.
Yeah, that.
I was going to say, it was just insane because, I mean, we've seen Sam Darnold play. We've seen the Seahawks. They've been incredible all year.
Yeah.
But for Sam Darnold to really come out there after being passed on and dumped by so many teams and showing, like, hey, I can keep pace with Matt Stafford, who's in the MVP race.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Stafford he went 22 of 35, 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I mean, Darnold, 25 of 36, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, those are absurd stat lines from both of them. I mean, a little less from Stafford. That's a little more what I would expect from him.
Right.
But I mean, it's just like you had said. If you told me that a few years ago, I would have called myself crazy for that.
Yeah, this was definitely a shootout. Obviously, the Seahawks won 31-27. They were kind of in the driver's seat this whole game, and the Rams' offense was forced to play catch up, which they can play that play style, with that explosive offense. Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, obviously Puka with a monster game. We expect that.
Yeah, I think time of possession was huge.
Definitely.
Who ends with who gets that 2-minute timeout? At the end, who has the ball at the end?
Yeah, that's a great point, Kasey. And some deciding factors that kind of added to that were the muffed punt by Xavier Smith that led to that Jake Bobo touchdown. That was a huge moment in the game where, this game was tight. The Rams didn't even get to start this drive. They were down 1 score, and then, Smith muffs this punt.
Yeah, that was huge.
And the Seahawks answer right away, and they go up 2 scores. And after that,
I mean, once you're down 2 scores, you're just you spend all of your time just clawing to get back into it,
Definitely.
And all your timeouts, obviously. So now you have, even if you end with possession, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
And now with that, the Super Bowl. We'll briefly touch on it. Seahawks versus Patriots.
Yeah.
Definitely not what I had at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed. Honestly, either of these teams had made it, and especially for the Patriots to turn it around in 7 years, I want to say?
Yeah.
Not even?
It doesn't. It feels like 1 year, honestly.
It feels like it's been maybe 2-3 years, and they're
Right.
right back in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just insane. And now with that, our Super Bowl, filled out Patriots versus Seahawks.
Yep.
It's the unlikeliest Super Bowl matchup ever, according to The Athletic.
Crazy.
What do you guys think about this? I mean, what are the Seahawks going to need to do to win? What are the Patriots going to need to do? General thoughts on the matchup?
I mean, according to this, these are preseason odds, so it makes sense to say that now. But, I mean, the Seahawks have been dominant all season. So, in looking at it now, it's not surprising at all that they're in the Super Bowl. I mean, this Mike McDonald defense is a force. JSN in this offense is explosive, so that's not surprising whatsoever. But how this Patriots team has turned it around with Mike Vrabel, that is surprising. That was a question mark going into this season.
Yeah.
And, I'm really excited to see how this game goes.
I will never, ever call a storyline featuring the Patriots an underdog story.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, absolutely not.
They have been spoiled just as a franchise, coming off of a horrible year 2 years ago, getting Drake May, seeing the flashes, and then having him blossom into a MVP candidate the very next year. It's just unfair. And
I was watching that game. I felt like just 1,000-yard stare on my face.
Yeah.
I was
Nobody else gets miracles.
we've
like
been
them.
in rebuild purgatory since
Yeah.
before I was born. But the Patriots can just pick a guy and it'll work out.
They can just turn it around like that.
I want to say this Pats team is definitely more likable, though.
I will give you that.
Until they're not. Until they're not.
And I will be watching with a little bit of hate in my heart as I see them take the field. But I am very excited for the Super Bowl matchup.
For sure.
At least there's no Chiefs. We
Yeah.
can all agree against
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And now, with that, let's take a quick pause and react to some of the biggest sports news. So to start, the Browns have found their guy finally after basically radio silence besides, hey, we've interviewed a few people. They ripped today that they have hired former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken as their new head coach. I mean, what are your guys' reactions to that?
Yeah, I think this Browns head coach talk has been one of the funniest things of their offseason. You know, they had a lot of guys just like straight up denying
the Mike
job.
McDaniel, Udinski, there was somebody else.
Mike McDaniel just took a coordinator position with the Chargers.
And I think that's awesome.
That is an awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm ready to put the if man memes to rest with
Yeah.
Justin Herbert.
Hypothetical. Yeah.
We're getting them passed on to Bo Nix already, which, justified or not. But I like this Browns head coach hiring.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel about it. There's a lot about because Monken's been good with Baltimore. He was good there his past couple years, but Baltimore is also in a significantly better situation than Cleveland currently. And, I mean, the Ravens' decline in the past season wasn't his fault, but that doesn't ease my mind, especially considering that afterwards Jim Schwartz reportedly said goodbye and was visibly upset after the hire there.
Yeah.
Apparently he told peers that he's out, which, I'm glad a head coach has finally been found, and they were kind of scraping what was left.
Mm-hmm.
But did Schwartz deserve that head coaching job?
I honestly think he did. I think he's been one of, if not the best defensive coordinator in the NFL the past, 3 years with this unit that they have.
Was he the interim? Or did they not really have one?
They didn't have an interim because Stefanski was fired after the end of the season. He was just the DC. He was one of the people, though, that they had interviewed a few times.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, I think he deserved it as well.
Kind of felt like he was going to get it.
Me too.
I thought it was going to go to him. And the entire time they were talking about, interviewing all these people, and I was like, well, they're going to just promote Jim Schwartz to it. I wanted them to.
Yeah.
I personally was in that boat of just promote Jim Schwartz, go find a DC.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be set. Like, you'll have a defensive-minded head coach for a team with a great defense.
Great defense.
You can work out the offense, kind of let Jim Schwartz take a crack at it, but I guess they preferred Todd Monken there.
Yeah, I think the ideal situation would have been they hire Jim Schwartz as the head coach, and then they get Monken in to be their offensive coordinator.
Especially with, I believe Kevin Stefanski took Tommy Rees with him to Atlanta. So there is currently an offensive coordinator opening. That's exactly what I thought.
And
I
then
was like, if they
he
hire
still
Monken,
could have called plays on defense, it would have all worked out. But I don't think this is the right direction for the Browns.
And even if Schwartz doesn't want to call plays offensively, just let Monken do it. I mean, that's his bag. I was really hoping that Jim Schwartz is going, and I still am hoping that he's going to stay. Because, I think kind of having Todd Monken there, he's familiar with this defensive unit. I don't think he would want to fire Schwartz, but, I agree with you, Andrew. I think they should have just promoted Schwartz, brought in Monken as the OC.
We'll see what happens.
Yep, and now legendary head coach Bill Belichick was not inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility after failing to reach that 80% mark. What do we think about this? Because I've got my opinions on it. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know how you don't. It's Bill Belichick.
There's much worse people in the Hall of Fame with off-the-field scandals and controversy on the field that were first ballot Hall of Famers to cast aside the best coach in NFL history, arguably. Really arguably, is blasphemy.
Yeah, he's a 6-time Super Bowl winner as head coach and 2-time winner as defensive coordinator. The man's got 8 rings from coaching.
What more do they want?
How many of those are Tom Brady's, though?
A lot of them.
But so is that why he's going to be the one that's upset about it? Is that where I'm not arguing with you guys. I'm saying we're not going to give it to him because it was Brady, not him, or what?
Yeah, what is their criteria? The people that didn't vote him in, why did they not?
I feel like I feel like the only thing they could say was they're not his rings, they're Brady's.
Sure, that is that's
the current kind of
drama around it.
Almost like thoughts on it and predictions with it is that a lot of people didn't vote for him because they thought everybody else was going to. Which, just if that is true, that is maybe the funniest reasoning behind
Maybe
the
those
most
people
obvious
shouldn't be
Hall
voting.
of Fame inductee.
Yeah.
Maybe those people shouldn't be voting.
I knew he was hitting kind of that first year of eligibility, and I was like, all right, yeah, like that's the hardest lock of all time.
Yeah.
You know, that is a lock made of tungsten.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's getting through that. He's in. And then, it comes out that, nope, actually, we just didn't vote him because we thought everybody else was going to, or
That's wild.
for all of that. I still stand by. I do think he didn't make it this year, but he definitely
Next year.
is
Probably
next
will
year.
eventually.
Next year.
100%.
But yeah, he should have been first lock. Now we'll move in for the people at the table. I'm going to make a statement. You guys will respond with deal or no deal. We're bringing this back. I'm so excited.
Yes.
The MAC in men's basketball is worthy of a 2-bid conference for the NCAA tournament if Miami doesn't win the MAC tournament. We'll start with you, Logan.
Deal, even if Miami does win the MAC tournament.
Okay.
You look at KenPom, Akron is 30 or 40 spots ahead of Miami. This is a better team than Miami. If they win, I think they deserve at least consideration for the spot. Okay. This Akron team is probably the best team I've seen in the MAC by my estimation. I mean, you look at how they're winning games. It is blowouts. Miami is winning very close games, kind of like they shouldn't have won a couple of those. That Buffalo game was absurd. But I think this is absolutely a 2-bid league, especially if some of these other kind of more respected mid-major conferences continue to not perform the best in conference play.
Kasey?
Skip me. I haven't decided.
Okay.
I'm going to go deal as well. Definitely agreeing with what Logan said, considering Akron. You know, they kept a lot of guys from last year. They were a great team last year, still a great team. And, you know, the basketball playoffs, per se, are a lot different than, you know, what we have in college football, where it's a lot more subjective. And it's like, oh, how do we think this team will fare in the playoffs? But, you know, March Madness is a lot different. It's how this team did in their regular season. And I think there's 2 powerhouses in the MAC that definitely deserve to be in the tournament.
I
Yeah,
also
I'm gonna
agree
agree.
there, too.
I'm gonna agree.
Second, the LA Clippers will be a playoff lock. They are currently sitting at 10th in the West. We'll just reverse table order.
Okay.
Andrew, we'll start with you.
Lock is an interesting word. I mean, they've been hot as of recently. They have a lot of talent. Don't really like this roster. I think it might be the oldest roster in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yes.
So that's not great. A lot of injury-prone guys, but just because the word lock is used here, I'm going to say no deal.
Okay. Kasey?
Really not NBA, not my specialty, but I feel the same way with lock. That just scares me. My upset watch record is too bad for me to confirm or deny.
You know what? I can agree with that part. Mine is too, though.
I'm going to keep consensus going at the table and just say that the verbiage is scaring me off. I mean, you look at the standings right now. I definitely think that they surpassed Portland, and I think they surpassed Golden State, who's dealing with some injuries right now. Yeah. Portland's still a young team. And obviously the Clippers are undoubtedly one of the hotter teams in the NBA right now.
Yeah, they're 16-3 since December 20th. Wow.
I get reminded of their wins on Twitter every year with those sketch comics. I forgot the user's name, but those are hilarious. But you got to factor in the play-in. Do you think they overtake the Wolves? Do you think they overtake the Suns to get into that top 6 and avoid the play-in altogether? Because that's when we start talking about locks. To be a playoff lock, you got to be a 6 seed or higher.
Now, I'm going to agree with this. I do think that they can peek into that 6 seed and surpass those teams with the rate that they've been playing. I mean, they started out horribly and have just turned it around. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're on, a 3-game win streak. They're playing very well, and the team is working. I mean, these are older players, as we mentioned, but that also means that they are very experienced players.
Also very brittle players.
That too.
Injured. Yeah, definitely.
Next, we'll jump in. The NBA broadcast split is alienating fans and making it harder to really grow the sport of basketball, not the lack of international games. Logan.
Also deal. I mean, I also don't think it's the lack of international game that's killing it, but I also think it's the quality of these.
Yeah.
You have such a quality drop-off given what you're watching on and the split of the games that are on. You could have the best broadcast crew calling Washington, New Orleans, and you could have the best broadcast crew calling the best game, like OKC Spurs. That is just going to be what you get in the current state of NBA broadcast with all these former players coming into broadcasting positions. You're losing experienced journalists. You're losing just kind of the credibility of broadcast altogether.
So I'll go into that, and then I will also kind of mention, in order to watch the games, you need 5 to 6 streaming services to be able to watch every game, or else you're just blocked out. I mean, Kasey?
Yo, I totally agree, and I would say deal across almost every sport. The MLS does this. I try to watch U.S. Women's or men's soccer, and I need a full $200 Hulu subscription. Put it on TV and get the commercials. You're gonna make the same amount of money. Nobody's paying for that right now.
Definitely. Logan took the words out of my mouth. I mean, these former player broadcasters, I'm not really a fan of. There's some good ones, but we are losing real journalists in this field, not only in the in-game commentating, but on these talk shows. I don't think it's a good environment right now. So I'm going to definitely agree that this is a problem.
All right, and then this one, asking this is going to hurt me, because I think I know what everybody's answers at the table is going to be, but Shedeur Sanders deserved the Pro Bowl nod that he got, deal or no deal? I'll leave this open to whoever wants to start us off.
Absolutely no deal. And I mean, I just want to note that if you look at the AFC Pro Bowl roster, there's one AFC quarterback missing. Can anyone guess who it is? That Shedeur got in over.
I don't know.
It's Trevor Lawrence.
Oh.
Trevor Lawrence did not make the Pro Bowl this
Young
year.
Prince.
He doesn't have the personality for it. That's why.
Is that what this? Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
is that
it's
what this has come to?
It's not like they're not worried about the record. They're not worried about a league game. They just
He had a great year.
they're making straight money off the Pro Bowl. So they're gonna. Shedeur's got more of a name to him. So whatever.
No, I mean, I'm a Browns fan. I will admit I'm sometimes a delusional Browns fan.
That's okay. That's what being a fan is about.
Exactly. Shedeur Sanders did not deserve it. I mean, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 18.9.
Pro Bowler. Pro Bowler.
We were all
And
laughing
certified
when
Pro
we
Bowler.
talked about him coming in. I sat this same spot. We're all giggling about it. Did not think this is where it was going to end up, but
And
I digress.
you know what? You can bring up the stats, but what is the Pro Bowl really about?
That's what I'm trying to
What
say.
is the sanctity of the Pro Bowl at this point?
It's the
that
Puppy
determines
Bowl.
who gets in and who doesn't. For that reason, I'm gonna say deal, because Shedeur Sanders in the Pro Bowl is just
is awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
Absolutely.
take. That's a good take.
All right, and now we'll jump over to professional basketball. The Cleveland Cavaliers have picked up 4 straight after their loss to the Thunder last week.
Yup.
What have they done well, and what do they need to continue to do to keep winning, Andrew?
Yeah, so I think Connor mentioned that there was some bright spots that we saw before this Thunder's loss, and I think that Thunder loss was a catalyst for a lot of good things to come for this team. Obviously, they just won 4 straight. Their first win in this streak was at Charlotte versus kind of a really volatile Charlotte Hornets team right now who, they can put up a lot of points versus good teams, but they can also drop some stinkers. I think LaMelo went 1 for 15 versus this game.
I think the Hornets are a very, very interesting team
Definitely.
just because of that, where they'll go out occasionally and they'll beat or play to the same level of these really great teams, but then sometimes you put them up against somebody lower in the East and they'll drop the ball against them.
I
Definitely.
think they call that a wild card.
That is exactly.
sure.
I think the term volatile to describe them is perfect. That and wild card, because I mean you really never know what you're going to get out of the Hornets each night.
Shout out Conconapple.
Shout out
Con.
Conconapple.
Shout out Con. I think they have 4 players averaging 20 points per game.
Yeah,
I think
What
so.
is that? What is that?
I think it's LaMelo, Miles Bridges, Conconapple, and Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we're talking about the Cavs,
Yes.
so let's give them a pat on the back.
Yep.
They had some great team defense for that win. Moving on to the Sacramento game, I just want to highlight Evan Mobley. He had an awesome double-double, 29 points, 13 rebounds. If he can do that every night, the Cavs are going to win every game. I mean, that is Defensive Player of the Year. Awesome performance by him. And then kind of the most important part of this win streak were the 2 games versus the Orlando Magic. This is a team that the Cavs are very familiar with, playing them in the playoffs. And neither of these games were really close. Donovan Mitchell scored 36 points on Saturday in the first game and then dropped a 45-burger on Monday. I mean, he is just unstoppable, especially versus the Magic.
45 points in one game.
He had 45 points himself.
That's what he does.
In
That's
one
what
game.
he does.
That is.
They need to make the hoop higher, or
that's what Donovan Mitchell
make them,
does.
or make them only have to be able to 2 steps to the rim. I'm so annoyed.
It doesn't matter when the man can jump 17 feet in the air, or that's what it feels like watching him. I feel like I could watch him jump a semi-truck, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Which makes me feel incredibly unathletic being his height.
Yeah.
And now, they've gone through these huge wins against the Magic.
Yeah.
They play the Lakers the game's scheduled to start in 9 minutes at the time of recording, so it's going to be like 20. What about afterwards, after this game against the Lakers?
Yeah, so obviously always exciting when LeBron comes back to town. I'm excited to watch this game.
They're wearing the blues, too.
Yeah. I'm excited. For the Cavs to build off this success, they really need to continue having fluid rotations, and that's on Kenny Atkinson.
Mm-hmm.
And they just need to build some continuity. Obviously, injuries have been a problem with Darius Garland out, Sam Merrill out, but I think they really have found their stride these last few games with that, Jalen Tyson in that starting role instead of Darius Garland. He's just been consistent
lights out there.
consistent
it's incredible.
producer. Yeah. So they just need to keep doing what they're doing, and then they need, your Evan Mobleys, your Jared Allens, your DeAndre Hunters to step up.
And we're, like a week or 2 away from Max Strus coming back, who was a starter on this team's
so.
64-win season.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then, you talk about DeAndre Hunter, who's probably trade getting it. What can you get back for him?
Yeah.
Because Max Strus coming back, Jalen Tyson emerging, how much does he even matter?
Completely agree. Same position, yeah.
And, after this game against the Lakers, they go on the road for these 5 West Coast games, Phoenix, Portland, all over California, and then out to Denver. What are they going to have to do and to be successful, and how is this constantly jumping around over the next, week or so going to affect them?
Yeah, obviously this Cavs team is better at home, so it's concerning. This is a huge road trip for them, but I think they have a lot of momentum going their way, and I just want to see more production out of the bench. I want to shout out Tyrese Proctor. He is awesome, filling in for Sam Merrill. Darius Garland is inactive tonight, but I think he is hopeful to come back during this road trip, so that would be huge for the Cavs.
I think if you come in and win 3 or 4 games on this road trip, it really shows who you are as a team. Now, if you come out and you win only 1 or 2 or, God forbid, 0 of these games, getting healthier and healthier as you go, it just shows a lot about this team. You expect Max Strus to come back at the end or at the tail end of this road trip, but this Cavs team needs to continue to win. They need to ride this momentum. They need to keep going and just keep getting better.
Yeah.
And do I think this Cavs team can go back to last year's dominance? Yes, I do. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but they are way too talented to be the 5th seed in the East right now. Obviously, the East is kind of wild right now. They're only a game back from being the 2 seed, but it's, they should be better, and I think they will be.
And now, with that, this might have been one of the best weeks of the college basketball season. Logan, how did everything shake out?
Well, we got a ton of high-caliber matchups. We're going to start with Illinois versus Purdue. Keaton Wagler, freshman, former Kansas basketball player, or boys basketball player of the year. Apologies, big whiff by Bill Self there, who's kind of dominating that in recruiting. But he had 46 points, led an 88-82 victory for the number 11 team in the country at the time against the number 4 team in the country on the road against Purdue. He really just out the gates torched Purdue's bigs. They really want to get out and switch. That's how Matt Painter does it. TKR, Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Oscar Clough were just trying to get out on him, and it led to Keaton Wagler going 9 of 11 for 3 for 46 points in the game. It was a masterclass performance from a kid who doesn't turn 19 for, I think, a couple more months.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't want to know that.
It makes you feel a little less accomplished in life.
It really does.
But kind of thinking about the months to come in March and the Big Ten tournament for Purdue, they're going to get tested by guards who want to do the exact same thing to Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn to really just win the shootout in a game that's always going to be tailored by offense with Braden Smith on the other side of the court.
Now, it's tough to bounce back against an Illinois team that's just getting that hot.
Oh, yeah.
So what else stood out from last week?
Well, I mean, you had a couple more freshmen drop 40. Kingston Flemings for Houston. Despite the loss against Texas Tech, it was an incredible shootout that saw him drop 42 points on 15 of 26 shooting, 6 assists as well, and I believe 4 steals to go along with that. Texas Tech, though, is just a dangerous team, and you have to keep up with them to shooting to even have a chance in this game. JT Toppin, former Big 12 Player of the Year last year, had 31 points. Donovan Atwell went 5 of 8 from 3. Both teams shot around 40% on the game, and it caused Houston to drop to 17-2. And I really think this Big 12 is going to start taking shape in the next coming weeks.
Yeah. I mean, any of you guys got thoughts about these games?
I did not watch either of these games, but I just want to underline how good this freshman class is this year in college basketball. It's
absurd.
Might be the best I've ever seen.
I need them to stop doing that because, they're 18, 19, dropping 42 points, and I'm sitting at a table.
His wingspan is 6 inches longer than his height.
Yeah, he's absurd. And
that's like a deformity. Is that why is that humanly possible?
it's pretty insane. I mean, you talk about these freshmen dominating. Arizona versus BYU. All eyes were on AJ DeBonsa, who had 43 against Utah the game before. Came into Arizona. Arizona's team remains undefeated, taking a 86-83 victory on the back of another freshman, Braden Berries, with 29 points in the game. Yeah. Completely dominated, getting to the rim, getting to the line.
True freshman, correct? True.
Yes, all these guys are true freshmen. Every single one of them turned 19 this year.
Yeah.
Or they were 19 coming in. I think Braden Berries is 20.
You guys are going to get me crying on camera. We can't have that.
But, I mean, we talked about it. AJ DeBonsa had 43 points the last game. Kind of a horrific shooting performance for him. He went 6 of 24 this game, 11 of 16 at the line. Still finished with 24 points, but it was a get as many shots up as possible and shoot yourself out of the slump. Yeah. And it's probably why BYU lost this game.
Yeah, I get wanting to kind of force yourself out of a slump by just putting shots up, but at some point you kind of have to take a step back and realize okay, they're not falling.
Composure is always gonna be more consistent.
Right. And for AJ DeBonsa specifically, you're a projected top 3 pick. You want to be able to show that you can do more than just score in this position.
Yeah.
Speaking of games that showed teams who can do a lot more than just score, Nebraska-Michigan. Undefeated Nebraska's streak is snapped in a 75-72 loss to the Wolverines. Morez Johnson was the one who really dominated this one. 17 points on 5 of 6 shooting against a pretty weakened Cornhusker frontcourt. Rank Moss, who has been this team's best player all year, not in there, as well as Braden Frager, the freshman, who's looking like he might take home Big Ten Freshman of the Year, unless Keaton Wagler has something to say about it. But Trey McKinney, the freshman from Michigan, is the one who kind of took the tie-breaking shot, made a layup against this weakened front court to take the 74-72 lead. Michigan now heads into a massive game against Michigan State on the road, looking like they probably are the number 1 team in the country. Do you guys have any takes on that? Who do you think, Arizona, Michigan?
I'm going to stick with Arizona. I mean, Michigan is awesome, but I think a big storyline in this Nebraska win was just, those injuries. I think this is a different story with them having those front court pieces.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm taking Arizona there, too. I mean, that was just a huge week for freshman players. Now, Logan, of these upcoming games, if you could pick one for all fans to tune into to watch, what is it and why?
I think we got to keep it going with the freshmen. BYU versus Kansas, 2 projected top 3 picks in Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa. Darren Peterson, who was DNP last game, now cleared to play against BYU. These are 2 guys who are going to light it up, 2 offenses who are going to shoot the lights out on their best days. I think from a guy who likes to look at college basketball for the projection aspect, for the NBA scouting perspective, this is the blue chip game of the season, at least the regular season. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a group of top 3 picks who seem set in stone at this point: Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBanza. We were robbed of a kind of top 3 pick performance up until this point in the season because Darren Peterson didn't play against Duke. Mm-hmm. BYU didn't play Duke either. So now we finally get these two of these top 3 picks facing off against one another. This is going to be my game of the season.
And now, with that, to jump into our final segment for the night, it's our Upset Watch, where we pick our favorite underdogs across all sports. We'll be concise, real quick, just kind of pick over your Upset Watch and why. Yeah. We'll start.
I'm in college basketball if you want me to go first.
Yeah, we'll have you go first.
Just to keep it rolling. I'm going USC to beat Iowa. USC's 15-5, Iowa's 14-5. So Iowa's favored 9.5. I just think they're super similar teams, similar conference records. This could go either way.
All right, and then keeping it in college basketball, Logan.
I have Dayton over St. Louis.
Okay.
Because if there's one thing that A-10 teams like to do when you start flipping the calendar, is they like to ruin their shot at multiple NCAA tournament seeds. We saw Dayton themselves do it by losing to LaSalle earlier this week or last week. And I think they're going to come back and do the same thing to St. Louis.
All right. Shifting over now, Andrew.
Yeah, we're going to move to the NHL. Don't talk about that often on this show, but I'm taking the Chicago Blackhawks and Connor Bedard to beat the Penguins in Pittsburgh. Penguins are known to blow leads, so
every single game.
Give me the Blackhawks.
And sticking with the NHL, it worked so well for me last time. I'm going to pick the Calgary Flames over the Minnesota Wild. The Flames are 13-9 went away, and I have faith in Nazem Kadri and the Flames here. It's speaking to me like the Green Goblin mask. So now we'll go on to our game of the week. Our game of the week is Ohio women's basketball versus Miami, Ohio. Miami's ranked first in the conference. It is a tough battle on the road against a rival. It's going to be a major victory for this team, though, if they can pull it off. Our player of the week is junior guard for the women's basketball team, Bailey Tabeling. For the first time making her appearance as player of the week, she averaged 17.5 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, a block, and nearly 2 steals a game in her most recent matches against Toledo and Bowling Green. Thank you for listening to SportsBeat on WOUB. I'm your host, Jack Zwiezinski, and with me today,
Andrew Levites,
Kasey Hill,
Logan Adams.
You can listen to us on WOUB 1340 AM radio at 9 p.m. or just search us online at woub.org/listen. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at SportsBeatWOUB for even more digital content. We'll see you next week. This has been SportsBeat.